It's the rematch every Giants fan wanted for the playoffs. It's Giants-Vikings on Sunday for the wild card round. Of course, Minnesota took game one after hitting a 61-yard field goal to win it. Well, Tyler Forness of the Vikings Wire is back again for a playoff edition of Know Your Enemy. Tyler, when Giants fans heard we were getting the Vikings, they were happy because of how close the game was. When I knew we were playing the Vikings, I'm happy because we get to see your hair again, my man. All right, let's break down this. This wild card game. The Giants put up 445 yards of total offense in the first game. What would you do to switch things up defensively for the Vikings this time around?
I think the big thing that you have to worry about this Giants offense, you have to worry about the quick game. Daniel Jones does not have a powerful arm to really drive the football down the field, and he was very successful hitting a lot of slant routes, a lot of in routes, just your simple stuff underneath, which is what this defense is designed to give up. I think if you really want to be successful against Daniel Jones, you have to take away the quick game. And these receivers, while they played well against the Vikings, they're not guys that you necessarily want starting in the National Football League. Get them impressed. Duke Shelley and Patrick Peterson were PFF's number 3 and number 4 corners in coverage this past season. Let them play. Get them up in their face, take them off of their timing, and then if you can do that, then you have Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith who can rush around the edge and get to Daniel Jones. I'm not necessarily concerned about the running game because the Vikings have done a pretty good job in stopping the run, but you have to stop the quick game with this Giants offense.
You got to stop that quick game, and I understand the corners that you just mentioned, but Richie James, 8 for 90. Isaiah Hodgins, 8 for 89. Darius Slayton, 4 for 79. The Giants receivers had themselves a pretty solid game that first time around. So, yeah, we're going to see what that quick game is like and if the Vikings can force the ball out of Daniel Jones' hand fast. Let's talk about the Vikings' offensive line. They're a bit shaken up. Back in Week 18, which is a week ago, they started their 4th different offensive line combination within the past 7 games. Your offensive coordinator, Wes Phillips, how are you going to call a game to protect Kirk Cousins?
So this is going to be very interesting. We did lose star right tackle Brian O'Neill in Week 17 to a partially torn Achilles tendon. That was a really big loss because he has been the most consistent right tackle, arguably in the league the last 3 years. Now, we did get Irv Smith Jr., the tight end, back from a high ankle sprain this past week, and I think we're going to see something that the Vikings did against the New England Patriots when Christian Darrisaw was out. Run a lot of 12 personnel, get some chips, especially against those nice edge rushers with Kayvon Thibodeau and Azeez Ojulari. Get Oli Udoh, who's going to be starting a right tackle, some help, and then you can get these guys on routes. I think that's going to be the key to really stopping this Giants pass rush because the interior, they handled them relatively well, but with Chris Reed now at center, he's not exactly what you would call a center. He is a offensive lineman playing center, and we've had some snap count issues, but those seem to have calmed down, especially after last week, and he is a much better interior blocker than the Giants saw on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, 4 sacks allowed against the Giants the last time, and you guys really didn't establish the run game. You only rushed for 83 yards that first game. You want to see more runs called as well?
I want to see some more balance in the offense, and that doesn't necessarily mean the running game per se. I want to see something we talked about the Giants offense. I want to see the Vikings establish the quick game. That can be running the football. That can be screens. The Vikings were atrocious at screens throughout the first 15 weeks of the year. They've really developed that game ever since the Indianapolis Colts. And obviously we saw Dalvin Cook take that 62-yard screen pass to tie the game against Indy. I want to see some of those elements. I want to see misdirection. Let's get Thibodeau and Ojulari pulling upfield and then taking advantage behind them. They love the tight end screen to Hawkinson. I would expect some of that, especially with how they're going to chip on the right side with Oli Udoh. And you know what? The running game would be nice. Dalvin Cook had his 4th fumble last week against the Bears. That tied him with Alvin Kamara for the most non-quarterback fumbles this season. So I'm going to be a little on the careful side with that, but let's get the quick game going. If it's running the football, if it's screens, if it's short routes, I want to see that established, and then we can push the ball down the field.
Those 4 fumbles are something that we're going to keep our eye on. The Giants defense is always looking for takeaways. Last game, Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson went off. Now, they are definitely going to be a priority for Wink Martindale's defense this time around. How come they were so deadly the first time?
That's something that's really interesting. The whole idea behind getting TJ Hawkinson was Justin Jefferson needed a running mate, but a top tight end is about $5 million cheaper than a wide receiver too, which they were looking at with Brandon Cooks from Houston. And when you have to put so much attention on Justin Jefferson, you can get the ball to Hawkinson and he can really extend you down the field. He's 6'5", 255. He runs well, runs crisp routes. And then Justin Jefferson is just insane. You can bracket him. That touchdown to take the lead against the Giants and make it an 8-point game, he was double covered. It was a perfect route, a perfect throw. And sometimes you just can't beat greatness. I would expect that the Giants are going to have some different looks for the Vikings. And Wink Martindale is brilliant with how he likes to blitz and how he likes to attack. I would expect Justin Jefferson to really see some different looks. And if they're smart, they're going to hit him at the line of scrimmage early.
Yeah, he's going to get some different looks and also some different bodies that are going up against him. Adoree Jackson is supposed to return, as well as Xavier McKinney. Tyler, thanks for joining us. It all goes down Sunday at US Bank Stadium. And Happy New Year, my man.
Happy New Year to you too, Brandon.